Hey everybody, welcome back to the show, The Adamas Project, episode 2. Got a really special guest with us today, and we were just talking about this before we hit record, actually, how there's certain people that you see them do what they do, and you just know right off the bat. Even before you talk to them, you know that they're doing what they were put here to do. They're living in their purpose. They're doing it so well. Because especially with what I do, I see a lot of people who humble brag a little bit. I see a lot of people who say, this is why I'm so good. I'm such a good speaker because I do this, and that. You should buy my program because I'm so unique and I do this and I do that. But the people I've met that are the most phenomenal at what they do, they don't really do that. They just are so good that everybody just knows. And this guy that I'm about to bring on, to me, exemplifies that. He is a Grammy award-winning music educator. Grammy award-winning music educator, in case you didn't catch the first time. He is a keynote speaker, and he helps people discover their sound. Mickey Smith Jr., welcome to the show.
Man, thank you, B. Thank you for the introduction, man. But, I always like to say this, man. Life's better when we band together, right? So just being able to break bread, so to speak, with you right now and just fellowship, that's the joy. That's the joy that I have right now. So thank you for walking in your purpose, man, and helping others find theirs along the way. Hey, man, look, I'm going to put it like this, bruh. Each and every day, I just feel like it's a beautiful opportunity. And I really don't think there's anything that's special about me, but I do know there's something significant about me. And with everything that I do, I just try to walk in that significance. I just try to make sure that I'm seeing each and every day as just that, the opportunity, right? I always like to say every opportunity is another opportunity for another opportunity, right? So that perspective just comes from you understanding that there's value. So for those that are listening today, understand that you're loved, you're valued, and you wanted. Understand that, like me, there's really nothing special about any of us, but there is something significant, and that significance comes from our ability to see value and to add value each and every day, every single way that we can in this thing called life, man. So let's go ahead and get it started. Thank you for adding value today, man. Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to the show. It was a great episode today with Mickey Smith Jr., and see you next week.
Come on, man.
So real quick, I got like 4 questions just from what you just said right there, but break down what you mean when you say you're not special, but you are significant. Is that the difference between like who you are and what you do, or what does that mean when you say that?
It's so much more, and it's nothing all at the same time, right? We could get like super deep with it if we want, and we probably will, but let's just keep it simple. You said it. You gave the answer. You said, I'm the Grammy Music Educator Award recipient. Keyword is not Grammy. Keyword is music educator. So for those that don't know what that role is, in my instance, I'm a band director. So and specifically, watch this, y'all. I teach middle school and elementary band too, right? So I work with the littles, like that, them sounds nobody really wants, right? That's the sounds I have to develop and nurture. And one of the things we do when we teach music is we have the understanding that the most important things about music have no thing to do with music. I always like to emphasize that. I don't really like the word nothing because I think we kind of blaze over that real quick. But I'll say it again. The most important things that deal with making music have no thing to do with music. So there's a few non-musical essentials that we cover in the first days of class. I have a program called First Days Lasting Ways, which just kind of outlines how to set your climate, your culture, and all that good stuff in your classroom. And why am I telling you this? Because at some point, there comes a point where they understand my man really don't have rules. He just has like a GPS, guidelines, procedures, and systems for the class. So it creates this nurturing atmosphere where, I am a little strict on some stuff, but after a while you realize my man really don't have rules. He's just giving us direction. However, I do have one rule. I got one thing. I'm going to be honest. I'll kind of go nuclear on it. One thing you can't do in my class is we can't put other people down, right? Especially when we're talking about beginners, because it takes such a bravery, right? It takes such bravery to get up and try something new you've never done before. We all know that. Many folks are paralyzed in potential because they didn't take that step to go outside their comfort zone. And for a kid, they're thinking about, what do my peers think? What do my friends think? What if I make that wrong note and they laugh at me? So I make sure in our classroom If you ain't got nothing good to say, mama said it. Don't say nothing at all, right?
Mm.
So I'm telling you that because we all have to understand in band that every instrument is significant, but none of them are special. Meaning this,
Mm.
people might hear the trumpet, but without the tuba, your band is trash. But people don't celebrate the tuba. Like ain't people like lining up, I gotta get that tuba. But I promise you, you take a symphony orchestra and you remove the tubas from it. You take a wind ensemble, you remove the tubas, it's not gonna hit the same. And for those that really don't know music, athletically, we understand Tom Brady, the GOAT. Tom, at the time of this recording, Tom probably nervous, right? Because Tom knows, TB knows that his greatness is predicated upon the offensive line. And he's got a center that got injured. All of a sudden, Tom, like, maybe I should stay retired. Now, I believe they're going to put in some key elements. They'll try to fill it in and make it work for my man. But what I'm saying is there's parts that nobody sees, that nobody knows. There's work that doesn't always show, but it doesn't mean that it's not valuable. So what am I telling you today? That just like with a great athletic team, whether it's a football team or with a band, there's certain elements that if they're not there, the whole suffers. And if we understand that it's not our job, that offensive lineman's not trying to out Brady. And Brady's not trying to play center. I've never seen tubas and flutes fight. It's not a competition, it's a collaborative. And I think for so many folks in our society, be it capitalism, be it whatever it is, this Western Hemisphere mentality, it's if you're not first, you last. It's the whole Ricky Bobby thing. And and even Ricky's daddy said, Ricky, look, I'm gonna just be real. He said I was high when I said that. Like, my man was like, this is the most ridiculous thing. We all know, he was like, there can be second, there can be third, there can be fourth. And the same is true with us. If we get our eyes off of trying to win and just trying to be significant, then we find the victory. We find the victory. And that's what I mean when I say, hey, nobody's special, meaning nobody's better than anybody else. No instrument is better than any other instrument. But all of us are significant. And the totality of what we are together trumps anything we can be singular. That's why I said, and I'll say it again, life is better when we band together.
Wow. You have this way of speaking, man, that is so incredibly impactful, and I think that it's really, really rare. Like you manage to take one of the deepest topics ever. I mean, that's basically the construction of society that you just described right there, or the optimal construction of a society or of any given people is do what you do best so that you contribute value to everybody else. But you say it so well, you say it so simply, and it blows my mind every single time. So I want to dig into that concept, though. You mentioned that Tom Brady's not trying to out-center the center, and the center is not trying to out-quarterback Tom Brady. So many people are focused on trying to be special, and you gave us a bunch of reasons: capitalism, social media, right? These influences that drive us to want to be seen more than felt, right? How do you turn your attention? Like, if somebody's trapped in that, if somebody's caught up in that, and maybe they don't know what their significance is, and maybe nobody's ever told them what their significance is, or maybe they're looking for it and they just can't seem to find it anywhere. How do you make that switch from just desperately trying to be special to just being significant and being whole and happy about just being significant?
I would tell folks, grow up. Just grow up. And when I say that, it's not what you think. My niece, oh boy, I hope she don't listen to this. I love you, Addison. My niece a trip, man. My niece, all I'm gonna say is this: I just hope she marries well. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope she marries, and she probably will, cause she ain't worried about a thing, man. I'm just telling you. And I watch her, and I'm like, wow. I literally told my sister, when I grow up, I want to be a kid again, because I watch how she just navigates life, and really, is she wrong? You know, there's a good book and a scripture that says we shouldn't even concern ourselves with the cares of the world. Don't worry about what tomorrow brings. It's gonna bring its own trouble. And we hear that kind of stuff and like, oh, that's deep. But then you watch a kid, they embrace that. They understand that wholeheartedly. It's a lot of times us that bring on these concerns and these cares that cloud and that frustrate us, and it keeps us from seeing the significance, or as I like to say, see the sound. So I would tell folks, think about this. As a teacher, I'm charged with getting kids to make music. So if I see you in pre-K and I ask a bunch of pre-K kids, who's a musician? The hands are going to go up. Every stinking kid is like, I'm a musician. Have you played an instrument? No, but I'm a musician, right? They can see it. They're like, no, hey, no worries. I got this. First grade, second grade, the hands are still up. Third grade, fewer hands go up. Fourth grade, maybe half the hands. Yeah, I think I can. By the time I get to them, possibly in middle school, now I have to do something called recruitment. Now think about how crazy this is. We're all born with a measure of appreciation, understanding, and even fluency in the thing called music. That's why it's the universal language. We all got it. Nobody's ever had to teach a baby to dance if they heard something good. We all just come pre-programmed with it. But by the time they get to be pre-adolescents, they can't see it anymore. And I think a big part of that is because when kids are little, there's an element of play. And we forget how important play is. Play is the laboratory that allows us to become. We imagine, we dream, we test boundaries, we do different things that we wouldn't necessarily do in a regular circumstance. Play is powerful. Don't let the word fool you. It ain't play. It's play, right? So I'm telling this for this reason. One of the ways you can see the world differently is when you relax, when you imagine, when you let go, when you explore possibilities, when you shed the fear of failure. But so many people are afraid of failing, they play safe. And what's playing safe? Looking at what already existed and copying that. And not taking that chance to say, well, maybe I have a voice that hasn't been heard. Maybe I have something that hasn't been explored yet. Columbus, people got a lot of thoughts about him, but I got mad respect for the man. My man looked at the edge and said, I'm going to keep on going. And you know how I feel about keep on going, people. I mean, like, my man saw the edge, or what he thought was the edge, and he continued to pursue. And so many of us are afraid to pursue because we lack the imagination. And that's all Columbus had when he hit the ocean, was imagination. He had no definitive fact. So I guess to sum it up, I'd say this, there's truth and there's fact. And I think the people that lack are the people that operate in fact. There's so much more to what we can see. That's why they say the truth will set you free. That's why folks like Oprah say find your truth. Why? Because if we stay relegated to the facts, then we're going to miss out. We're not going to be able to extend our reach and expand that zone that allows us to be and see what we could never imagine if we don't imagine. So I would just say grow up and be a kid.
I can't write fast enough, Mickey. I can't write fast enough.
Man, it's just, hey, we're just talking, man. It's just sharing.
No, we're not just talking. You're one of those people that is freakishly smart, and you don't give yourself credit for it. Okay.
Hey, but you say that. Now here's the deal. I appreciate that. Mama taught me a long time ago. She said when somebody give you a compliment, don't dismiss it. So I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna say I receive it. I'm not even going to say that I'm 100% on board with that because literally, I got the report card. It's so funny. Somebody needs to hear this today. I got the report card. C's and D's. They said on the report card, N. And look, some of y'all listening, y'all don't even know what that means. Look, let me go ahead and clarify the N. I don't want nobody to get upset. N. It meant not satisfactory, okay? Okay. Not satisfactory. That was the N. They said my man talks too much. They said N. He makes too much noise. So he talks too much, makes too much noise, disruptive, right? I'm probably tapping on the table or doing something, They said N. He's distracted. He draws too much. But thank goodness I had individuals in my life, sound adults like Derlin Paul Ancelette, military dude, taught geography. He let me see. He looked at me. He's like, hey, come over here. We're going to put you in the geography beat. Now, look, you and I both know that's some corny stuff, okay? My neighborhood, I ain't going to say it was like we wasn't 8 Mile or nothing in Detroit, but I'm just saying there's no way I was going home bragging to my boys about being on the geography beat. That's cornier than the spelling bee, right? So I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't like extremely proud of it, but I was intrigued. But what happened was I ended up being the geography champion for my school, right? I ended up making it to the state finals. So for the first time in my life, I went to a university. I was on a stage at LSU, Louisiana State University. I'd never been at a university. I didn't even know what university was. I knew they had football teams. I knew they had basketball teams, but I didn't really understand that you went there to learn, that it was a higher institution of learning. I didn't get that because nobody in my neighborhood was going to college, right? But that allowed me to see some things I couldn't see. Now watch this. Watch this. In addition to seeing places I never saw, I saw who I thought I could never be, because 2 years later I went from being a C&D student to student of the year for my school. It's all about who you see and what you see and the possibilities. On top of that too, now fast forward, not only did I become a student of the year, but I was the first male in my family to graduate from high school. I now hold multiple degrees, first in my family to go to college, but then changed the whole trajectory of my family, because at my count, I got 5 family members that after seeing me go to school, they decide to go to college. My sister now is teaching her first year as a degree teacher now. We changed the paradigm of our entire family, of our entire existence. But watch this. This is the craziest thing. Somebody said, oh, the Grammy? No. National Grammy Award winner. Mickey, is it being 7-time Teacher of the Year? Hey, that's cool. No, but that's not the craziest thing. This is the craziest thing. That now, fast forward, I got an N for talking too much. Now I get paid too much money to talk too much. I got an N for making too much noise. Now I get paid too much money to make noise as a musician. I got an N for draws too much. Now I get paid too much as an award-winning illustration artist. I wrote and illustrated my own children's book. What I'm telling you is that there's more to this life than what we see. That in my case, the deficiency was actually a superpower in disguise. So for that individual out there that's like, oh, I hear Mickey, I hear the credentials. I don't want you to hear the credentials. I want you to hear the things that could have been crippling. I want you to hear the deficiencies or the appearance of deficiencies. And at the end of the day, were they really shortcomings? Or were they just something that wasn't perceived by others? But the question is, what do you see? It ain't for others to see it always. You got to see yourself beyond yourself, man.
All right. So, first of all, I'll change freakishly smart to freakishly wise. I think that's maybe that's a better term.
I receive that. I'm be honest, the transcript may argue.
right. And I want to circle back to that in a little bit, because I'm curious where that came from, right? But really quick, before we get too far away from it, I want to go back to something that you said. So you were talking about learning how to play at life, right? Because that's where your best self kind of comes out. You also talked about how vision is almost a prerequisite to success, right? You had to teach those kids that they could see themselves in that higher, better place before they could even start to play and have fun with it, because if you don't see what it could be, then it's hard to have a lot of fun with it. Mm-hmm. So what about the people who just get so caught up in outcomes and the tasks, and because I think there's a gap between understanding and adjustment, meaning I think this is something that I struggle with personally, is I get the concept, not even I just get the concept, I've experienced the concept, right? I've experienced that when I play at gymnastics, when I play at speaking, I'm a million times better than when I'm trying to hit a check mark, or I gotta do this, gotta do that, and I'm stressed out about the outcome. Am I gonna win? Am I not gonna win? I know it works, and yet sometimes I still find myself sitting here at the beginning of the day or the end of the day thinking, man, I got this many emails to get through, I got this many sales calls I gotta complete, I got this, I still haven't worked out today, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And I become really outcome driven rather than playing for the sake of the intrinsic value of the activities that I'm doing. So how do you snap out of that and get that playful vision again?
Mm-hmm. Man, that's woo. Come on, B. Were you trying to change somebody's life today? I'm just saying, because if we give this answer, and I believe we will, this is literally the paradigm shifter for individuals, because we live in a society now. I think of it like a bully society, right? I call it the with me. What's in it for me? Now, everybody's with the with me, right? And if you're not careful, if you're not strong in who you are, and most importantly, what you want, not to the point of being selfish, but to the point of being self-preserving, then you'll find yourself being like a ship that's tossed to and fro, right? Right? So here's the deal. I'm gonna go back to bring us front. Playing music has been so life changing for me, not because it gave me a way of making a livable wage, and or it's given me a career path, or any of those things like that. But music, I really think, embodies life at its ideal. You see, when I play music, that's like one of the most sacred times in my life. Because when I'm playing music, music demands now. Music demands now. And what do I mean by that? It wasn't until I started teaching kids. Matter of fact, before we got on this call, I was working with my son. We were sitting down. We spend a little time reading each day, ask him about his day. We play together. We play our instruments, right? And it occurred to me, with music, if you think too far ahead in it, you'll screw up the note that you're supposed to be on. Mm-hmm. Watching him and watching kids mess up on a note, the music doesn't stop. It just keeps on going. So as music keeps going, if you're still stuck on what you did in bar 3, in measure 3, right, the first part of the song, and now you're on measure or bar 32, music says, bump that. We at 32 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. You messed up there, but the people want now. And music is one of those things where it demands, if you do it well, that you're in the moment. No different than in gymnastics. You better be focused on the maneuver that you're doing in that moment. Otherwise, you could jeopardize not just the score, but your life if you're not intently focused on what you're trying to do now. So watch this. There's no gymnastics coach that would accept that you didn't execute because somebody was clapping in the audience. There's no coach, really. There ain't no football coach that's going to accept we didn't make the completion because there was a heckler on row 6.
Yeah.
This is the power of music, of play. I keep saying it, play. I think there's a reason we say we play the game. We play the music. Because there's something more powerful than we realize in that word called play. Now, why am I saying this? Because I do something each and every day. I have something I call a promise compass that I've created. And I created it not for anybody else. It was just one of those things. I think you need to be the greatest student of yourself. People follow people online, and it's kind of creepy if somebody knows more about you than you know about yourself, right? And I got some people that have shocked me. They done did their research. But I ain't run into anybody yet that knows more about me than me. And I think that at the end of the day, I've studied the icons. I've studied those in the past. I've studied those contemporaries. But now it's a point for me to dig deep into my own well and ask myself, who am I? Who am I? So I take time to find that out. And on the process of finding it out, I created this system that allows me to be me despite everything that comes against me. So what does that look like? I think at the end of the day, it comes down to having vision. See, before I get into it, you got to understand every day we have an opportunity, a choice to either be victims or victors. And I used to watch this show called Law and Order, and they would refer to them as the Vic. The Vic. And I always thought that was really interesting. And as of late, recent years, I think it's so powerful because it's unfinished, right? And I used to like those worksheets when I was a kid where they had the first few letters and it was your task to figure out the rest of the spelling. And I love those worksheets, especially when they had an answer key that had all the words in it. So it was just my job to visually look at it and say, oh, okay, VIC, oh, I know how this ends. But so many of us, we allow other people to finish the word for us. So the question is, are you a victor or a victim? And I believe that the answer lies in the Vic, the VIC. What is Vic? It starts with vision. What's your vision? What do you see for yourself? That means, can you dream? Can you dream? Can you dream about something? I need you to dream about something bigger than you can go pick up at Costco. Something bigger than you can go pick up at Best Buy or Walmart, all right? I need you to think about something that's a little bit out of your reach, but boy, to get it would be so fulfilling. That's what I'm talking about when I say vision, when I say dream. It doesn't mean that you have all the answers. It just means that I have something so powerful that I answer the call each and every day without fail, without question. When you was a kid, it was the field trip. They had the field trip, you was at school early. Like, you got a borderline truancy. You ain't been in school in a week, but you showed up early for that field trip. Why? Because it was a powerful want to. Mm-hmm. What is that dream that becomes a powerful want to? That creates the vision. Now, from the vision, V-I, the I is intentionality. See, you can't be intentional about something if you don't know what it is you're trying to be. And so many people are out here just doing stuff, and they end up doing too much. You're out here doing too much. I'm not trying to put anybody on blast today. I'm not even saying that I have all the answers. All I'm saying is I know who I am. Doesn't mean I get it perfect every day. But watch this. I'm always in the ballpark because I have vision, intentionality, and watch this. This is what people see. See, consistency. This is what we get celebrated for. Kobe, he's so consistent. Not necessarily he was consistent, but he was also intentional. And that intentionality came from a strong level of vision. Matter of fact, the vision was so strong, he named it Mamba mentality. What do you have that's so strong that it needs to be named? We only name things that are valuable to us. Our children, our pets, things that are significant. We put a name on it. But that's where it comes back to the significance. It's all tied together. Now, somebody said, Mickey, that's cute, VIC, but what does that have to do with me? Well, once you have the vision, watch this. I create what I call dream distillery. I like to distill my dreams. Now, Mickey, why you come up with that? Because I'm from Louisiana. I'm telling you, come to Louisiana. I can't speak for the North. North Louisiana, if y'all listening, we love y'all too. I'm just saying, South Louisiana, that's where it's at. They got a dream distillery tour. Like, you can literally fly down Louisiana, and there's like 22 distilleries. And people, they get on a bus, and they get distilled, baby. I don't even indulge in that. I don't even drink. But I do have an appreciation for it. I'm like, that's pretty cool, man. Like, there's a low-key, not even low-key, outright tour of distilleries. So what does distillery do? It breaks it down. Right? Because the concentrate is too much. And sometimes we may have a dream and it's so concentrated, it's like, ooh, that's too much. I could never do that. You're probably right. But that's why it takes team. That's why I say it's better when we band together. So how do you achieve something that takes others to lift? You distill it down into winnable chunks that you can do. So from the distillery, I break it down and I ask myself, okay, how can I break these things down into milestones? Because I watch the Tour de France. They give out multiple jackets. They ain't just got one yellow jacket at the end. That's too many mountains, man. So they give them a jacket for every stage. And watch this. If you win a stage, you win. Look, I'm doing the money sign. You win. Because with every stage, there's an opportunity for endorsement. Now, ultimately, you want to be the person that wins overall. But every milestone is an achievement. And I think so many of us, we delay the gratification for the ultimate, but the ultimate may be a lifetime. And I ain't trying to wait 80 years to be celebrated. I want to win today. So I break it down into what can I do this week? What are 3 things I can do to help me reach the dream? And then from there, I break it down every day. Okay, what can I do today? What are 3 things I can do today to help me reach who I wanted to be for the week, that helps me reach who I want to be for the year? Whoever invented the pizza, genius. Whoever invented the pizza slice, a god among men. Being able to break it down, man, that's how we look at it. So I think that's the key, being in the moment, but making every moment count by breaking things down in a way to where, watch this, it makes every day a Wednesday, W-I-N-S. Every day feels like a win because you left away and you had these bite-sized moments of victory that you can indulge in. Somebody's like, Mickey, how can you enjoy the process? Because I've made the process sweet. I haven't delayed celebration for the product. Process is where it's at. I don't wait for a concert to celebrate my kids. I don't wait for a concert. I don't wait for a Carnegie Hall. Man, that's why COVID didn't really mess us up in our band hall. Because when the concerts got taken away, the kids still found joy in the process. They still found joy in learning the scale. It's all in how you break down the mundane, because every opportunity is another opportunity for another opportunity, because each opportunity is the significance it brings in and of itself. Stop waiting on something to validate the moment. Now is the time. Legacy's not tomorrow. Legacy's not yesterday. Legacy now. I guess if that's the thing, we want to come up with a hashtag to sum all that up. Legacy now.
It's funny because as you were speaking, I was writing down my next question, which was, how do you reconcile that duality between vision and being in the now? Because when I think vision of the future. I think something that's far away from me. But I think what you said at the end there, in terms of chunking everything up, it's almost a process of crafting that vision for the future, reaching out, grabbing it, and pulling it back into the present so that you can stay in the present. And then the present moment becomes an aspect of that vision, both now, but also that will be created into reality later as you continue to be in that vision. So you answered my question there. Now here's the next question I have for you, and I think we might need to go back into your story a little bit for this one, because we totally skipped over the whole like elevator pitch. Who's Mickey Smith Jr.? Where'd you come from? What do you do? Like we just went straight into it because it was just so good. It was just so good. We couldn't, I didn't want to stop and take a detour there. But here's what I'm curious about. Where does that vision come from, right? If somebody's watching this and they say, great, it sounds like that vision is the key, but if I sit here and close my eyes and think about who I want to be and what I want to do, I got nothing. I'm coming up blank. I don't see anything that everybody else talks about, this grand vision. I just don't see it. And so I want to ask almost two questions here. One, where does the vision come from? Just period. Two, where does the vision come from if you don't have a source of inspiration outside of yourself? Meaning, and this is why I kind of want you to tell your story right here, because I know where you grew up. And I would have to imagine in that circumstance where you were, you weren't surrounded by millionaires and billionaires. You weren't surrounded by Grammy award-winning artists. You weren't surrounded by the people that you would one day end up becoming. So where did the vision come from when you're trying to create something that you can't physically see?
Yeah. And before answering that, let me tell you the concern I face right now.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a community, impoverished community. We didn't have a lot. Fast forward, now I live in one of the most wealthy zip codes. Okay? Now my children are afforded opportunities they could have never had. They go to schools I could have never dreamed and imagined. And there's a part of me that's worried. There's a part of me that's worried now, because I understand now there's a significance to the pain that I think we undervalue oftentimes. If you want to find somebody's purpose, I believe a lot of times it's rooted in the pain. A lot of times it's the pain that drives us. I keep talking about Brady. I'm not like a huge Brady fan, but like he keeps running across my mind. 199. That was his draft number. My man was the last one. People keep like, well, why does he keep playing so long? I think that did something to him. I'm not gonna say it broke him, okay? But it pained him in such a way, it propelled his purpose. To where every day when he went to practice, he remembered that number, 199. I got to show him. He's number one now, without a doubt. I mean, you can argue it all day. You might have your favorite, but if you're just being honest with yourself, there ain't nobody statistically that we can just say unequivocally is better than my man. Yeah. He's still going. What drives him? And I'm saying that because there's a lot of cats that they're amazing, like they killing it, high school, college, and then they get to the NFL, and all of a sudden, we don't hear from them again. But they have all the physical tools and attributes. What happens? I think there's an alignment with purpose and pain. And I think for some people that pain point is so deep and so powerful that nothing satisfies it. And because nothing satisfies it, there's always a perpetual drive to continue to keep going. And for some folks, the pain point may have just been monetarily. It might have just been financial. So when they sign the signing bonus and they get it, we don't see the same drive. Pain alleviated. Right. For some people, it was like, I just need the validation. I need to be an all-star. I need to be a Pro Bowler. So the moment they get that nod, We ain't working out like we used to. Some people that should get the Super Bowl. Obviously, with Brady, it's not that. My man got what, 6, 12, 15? I don't know at this point, right? Like, at this point, I don't know if he'll ever be satisfied. So why am I sharing that with you? Because I look at my kids now and I see people that have everything. If they're not intentional about purpose, then that can be some of the greatest pain to have everything. So I'm just saying this. I don't think it really matters if you have everything or if you have nothing. I think your level of awareness of who you are and where you are in the moment is what matters most. So for me, where did that purpose and that drive come from? In the moment, I didn't know it. I'm a kid. I'm a teenager. I didn't realize it. But as I look back, they say hindsight's 20/20. I look back, I know unequivocally it came from the fact that I grew up in a community that doesn't exist anymore, where the bulldozers came and literally bulldozed the entire town. Looked like low-key Hiroshima. Like, as far as you can see, I wasn't there when they dropped the bombs, but I would imagine everything was obliterated. So as I stand there and I look across for I don't know how many square miles and I see nothing, not a blade of grass, not a tree stump, not the school I grew up in, not my neighborhood, not my house, it broke something in me. It hurts when you can't go home again. I know some people like, yeah, my neighborhood's not there, but there's something. The city is still there. You know, there may be the fire hydrant. You got something, there's a landmark you can look at. But when everything, and watch this, everyone is gone instantaneously. When people die and you don't know they die until 5 years later because the sense of community has been obliterated, that's something that's hard for people to understand, because few American cities have been totally erased from the face of the earth. But there I am in this situation. Somebody said, Mickey, that's sad, but it's not the saddest part. The saddest part is this. You can con a con, you can fool a fool, but you can't kid a kid. That's the saddest part. Because before the bulldozers showed up, I already knew we didn't have value. Because the way people spoke about us. Because the way they looked at me when they bused me to that other school that I was a C&D student at. Not because I wasn't intelligent, but because when I walked in the door and they saw that I was from Mossville, their countenance changed. Oh, I could tell. They changed. I could tell because I needed glasses for maybe 2 years, but nobody saw. Maybe I wasn't as dumb as they thought. Maybe I just couldn't see. See, when you understand that in the eyes of some that you don't have value, I believe for me, it created a drive to show others that they're loved, valued, and wanted. I believe in me, it created this desire to help others find their sound, because I realized my life would have been absolutely different had I not found my sound, my significance. So I'm grateful for the sound adults that were in my life. I understand now that every child is one sound adult away from discovering their own sound of success. And at the end of the day, we all just big kids. We all just come in different ages. And we're all hungry and we're all searching. So that's why I dedicate my mission and my purpose to helping others find theirs. But the question is, what is your sound? I believe there's a formula for it. I believe there's a way that we can find this. But if you ask me that question, that's where it came from. My purpose came from not knowing I had one and not being in a position where people saw that I had a purpose.
I want to get to that formula for finding your sound in a minute, but before we do, what's the difference between people who go through situations like that and they let it create something that maybe isn't helpful within them versus the people who allow that to create something that makes them want to give back? You know, and when I think of this, I almost think of, and I've to be completely honest, I've fallen into this at certain points of my life, but I think of these guys on Instagram that, you know, they post their Lamborghini with a bunch of girls around them, and, you know, I think the 16-year-old version of me was like, oh, I want to be that guy. He's so cool. And then now I look at that and I'm like, man, you're hurt. Yeah. Like you're searching for something that you can't seem to get on your own, or you don't believe that you have internally, and you're trying to get that validation and affirmation from others by showing them what you think they want to see from you, right? And I think that some people who go through circumstances like that, it just becomes this beast that never quite gets fed. But instead of pushing them to do great things, maybe like Tom or Kobe, or maybe even yourself, it pushes them to become almost like drug addicts in a sense, but with affirmation and validation. So how does somebody who's maybe in their 20s or 30s, who they've been through that, and they know they've been through it, and they know that they've got that thing in them that pushes them harder than most people, but how do they make sure that they use it and not let it use them?
That's good. That's good. You know, my grandmother was a very stern and firm lady. She wasn't a milk and cookies kind of grandma, to be honest with you. Just all due respect, she, rest her soul. She lived to be 91. But she look, folks from the South know what I'm talking about. She'd get the switch. She'd whoop you. I'm just saying. It was a different age, man. She put something on you. So with that being said, she was not a very friendly woman. So I'm telling you this for this reason. There were times where I would be outside playing ball. It's pretty good hooper back in the day. It's gone now, but I was pretty good back in the day. I taken a good game of horse, but no more dunking right now. But back in the day, I used to play pretty good. And then here comes my grandmother. She say, "Little boy," and when she said "little boy," it didn't matter how old you were or how big you were. She was letting you know, Mama's still in charge. She said, "Little boy, come here." She said, I said, "Yes, ma'am." She say, "Go in that kitchen and fetch my pocketbook." Now, let me translate for some folks. You may be a little more sophisticated, progressive, for those that may be out there, and that sounded odd. When she said, "Go fetch your pocketbook," or my pocketbook in her case, it just meant go get my extremely ridiculously oversized purse, right? So, but here's the deal. That pocketbook, man, it solved all the world's problems. She had everything she needed in it. It wasn't a Louis Vuitton or nothing like that, but I'm telling you, man, that pocketbook was priceless. It could fix some stuff. So she said, "Go fetch my pocketbook." And I'd go in there, and I'd look around. But you got to remember, B, like, I left the game. Like, we called timeout. My boy's waiting on me to come back. I'm in here looking for a pocketbook. And I'm looking. I don't see it. I come back. I'm like, "Grandmother, it's not in there." She say, "Little boy, if I get up with my rheumatoid arthritis, and if I go in that kitchen, and if I find that pocketbook, it's going to be me and you." And look, for those that are listening, I know I opened with "Life is better when we band together," but that ain't kind of the togetherness I was looking for. That was a bad thing. If she said it was going to be me and you, that was not going to bode well for you, man, right? So watch this. She would literally get up. She'd walk in the kitchen without fail. Talk to me, B. What do you think happened?
Oh, she found it in 0.2 seconds.
Boom. Point two. You're right, too. Like, quick. That's with the arthritis. Right there. And I'm like, what kind of witchcraft, what kind of magic is one we're working with? But I realized something now. See, when our focus is on what we want to do, we can be looking but not seeing. And for so many of us, we're so busy looking, but we're so focused on the wrong stuff. We never see the significance that is uniquely designed for us. Everybody has a unique personal significance, and it's custom made for you. Now, the beauty of it is, I'm not saying don't post. I'm not saying don't go look on Instagram. But I'm like this. It's for us to appreciate, not to compete with. Your story's not my story. Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I wish I could do the flip. I wish I could pick up people with a single. I wish I could leap tall buildings with a single bound. Bro, you could do some stuff I'll never do. I never. It's over for me. But what I can do is I can celebrate you. I can live vicariously through you. And it's so crazy. We don't have a problem living vicariously through Kobe or Tom. Like, we can celebrate that. And you know good and doggone well you would not step on that field. You'd be obliterated by those guys. So we're very comfortable staying in the stands and celebrating them. But for some reason, we look at life and we think, oh, that I deserve to do that. That's me. No, some things are just meant to be celebrated and seen in order to inspire you to create your own. So I say all that to say sometimes it's a matter of seeing the sound. Somebody said, Mickey, that's a good story, but what's the application? I think you need to do a sound check every day. A sound check allows me, watch this, we test levels. Look, I'm gonna mess up the recording. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. We do that, we talk into the mic, but we do it to see if others can receive. There's usually somebody in the audience that's listening going, Mickey, the levels are good. The audience is now ready to receive, because I understand as a speaker that I'm not talking for myself, that I'm a tree that's bearing fruit, but the fruit's never for me to eat. Tree don't eat its own fruit. Fruit not supposed to be sweet to the tree. The tree was meant to give the fruit. So my question to you today is, are you fruitful? That's the question. Life is about being fruitful. That's how you multiply. And so many people are trying to eat their own fruit, and that's some weird stuff, man. I'm just saying, look, I'm not even botanist. I ain't no scientist. All I'm saying is, if you out there and you see a tree that's eating its own fruit, I need you to call the authorities. That's some high-level apocalyptic type stuff, okay? Right? So if we think that's absurd for a tree to eat its own fruit, then why do we think that we need to be sweet for ourselves? I believe our lives are made more valuable when we add value, because you'll get the value back. Watch this. Because as the tree gives off the fruit, the birds eat it, the birds do some other stuff I ain't gonna say, and after a while, boop, more trees are grown, right? And your community is built. And watch this, you got more shade, right? And it ain't that bad shade, it's the good shade, right? You become a desirable place for others to dwell. You add value and you gain value all at the same time. Oh, I need you to understand, it's about doing the sound check. Somebody say, well, what's a sound check? SOUND. S stands for see yourself beyond yourself. I would challenge you today to write down, what's one small actionable thing I can do to see myself beyond myself? How can I live selfless and not selfish? How can I be available? In short, hashtag be available. We're going to say that, right? O, operate in optimism and excellence. What does that look like? That's not fake it till you make it. It's not even faith it till you make it. I believe it's face it till you make it, because I got a good book that tells me what's inside of me is greater than anything that can come against me. So I'm not being sacrilegious. Lily Mae would be mad right now. Grandmother would get that switch. Boy, ain't nothing better than faith it till you make it. No, face it till you make it is greater, because you already got it. You already got it. I just need you to go be about it, right? Be about it. And that means be authentic. Hashtag be authentic. It doesn't mean put on a red jacket or a crazy looking hat or put a fake smile on. No, just be the most best version of you that you can be. Put your best foot forward every day, and watch this. You become attractive, but it's not what you think. You become attractive, meaning you attract what you put out. And so many of us are getting things we don't like, but we got to ask ourselves, what are we putting out? I need you to operate in optimism and excellence. U stands for utilize all available resources. Can you be active? Be active. Use what you got. I'm in a season right now where people are like, oh my God, overnight success. Man, you got to be kidding me. Over life success. Over life success. I've used what I had in the moment until I could level up. And some people just sitting back waiting on somebody to do it. And I learned a long time ago. I had an old beat up car and it stalled out on me. And I remember folks drove by until eventually I was on this old country road and I knew I need to start pushing or walking. And I decided to start pushing that car. The moment I pushed my car, somebody pulled over and helped me. And the moment that person pulled over, another person pulled over. And before I knew it, I had about 3 guys that would help me push that car. People just want to see, are you utilizing what you got? Nourish relationships. Now this one, look, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is bad language. I need you to be and. I need you to be and. Why am I saying be and? Because you can't even spell the word band without the word and. And so many of us are not being an and person. We're being a solo. Be an and person. Be somebody that can collaborate with others, that can add value to others and not just take the value. Be and. Nourish those relationships and they'll nourish you. And then finally, D, don't stop. Keep on going. With the exception of D, I literally write down one little act I'm going to do every day that helps create my compass for the day as I strive for those 3 things that point back to the 3 things for the week that point back to the dream. This is how I find purpose in my day, so I don't just plan out my day. I put purpose into my day. And by putting purpose into my day, every day has a level of fulfillment that's hard to quantify, that people don't understand, that money can't buy, that the Bugatti can't get, right? I'm just telling you right now, it's not where we are, it's not who we are, it's what we be. It's what we be. To be or not to be, that's the answer, not the question.
Man, I want to ask you about that last part of your formula, right? Keep on going. Don't stop. Keep on going. Where did that come from? And how do you keep on going even if you don't necessarily see the progress?
That's good. Keep on going. Look, again, I'm going to tell you, there's nothing special about me. I just found significance. And I'm telling you, look, I'm save the identity because I don't like to be talking about students out here. But I'm just saying, maybe I got a student. Maybe I got a student that, I'll put it like this. Good book tells me I got to love everybody. Sometimes there's folks we don't like. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sometimes our behavior is not likable. But we love everybody. So I'm going to say it like this. I love all students that I teach. But sometimes there are behaviors that I don't like. And there's a student, possibly, that had some undesirable behavior. And when called out on it, the student said, that's impossible. I can't do that. They self-diagnosed. I got ADD. I got ADHD. I can't sit still. I can't do this. But then a colleague of mine said, you can't? He was like, and he pulls out his wallet. What if I gave you $1,000? My man stood still. Which then led the question. After the young man went out, I looked at my colleague. I say, bro, how much they paying you? Like, how you got $1,000? And I'm just saying, we both teaching. Well, I need to go back and re-sign the contract. What in the world? That conversation, my man, I would not have been able to give him as much incentive. I mean, $5 ain't gonna do it. I'm just saying. Anyway, I digress. But the point of the matter is, it was amazing. With the correct price point, anything's possible. My man self-diagnosed, but he healed himself in one moment when he saw that money. And I'm telling somebody that today because a lot of times we say we can't, but it's because it's not desirable enough. The product is not powerful enough. The price point is not powerful enough. And I'm here today to tell you it's our job to count the cost. A lot of times we don't count the cost. We don't set the price. So when you have a promise, that's why I always call it a promise compass, because I believe life is a journey from our potential to our promise. And everybody's got potential. That don't make you special. There's a whole show called America's Got Talent. Like, do you low-key understand the low-key insult that is? I mean, think about that. That's some serious shade if you really think about it. They're literally telling you what I said at the beginning, that no one is special. We all got talent, but not all of us have promise. And that's why Simon's there with the buzzer. That's why Howie is there, because they are the promise keepers. They can't let anybody come on that stage and stay on that stage that doesn't have promise. Some people got so much promise, they get the gold buzzer. They like, we'll see you at the end, because you're already powerful. And I'm saying that today for this reason. If we want to create a pathway from potential to promise, we have to have purpose that's so powerful that it fuels us. We have to have passion that ignites us, just like a vehicle that allows us to keep on going. But what does that look like? I'm glad you asked. I believe it resides in what I call our XYZ. XYZ. What is X? I'm giving you too much, B. I'm giving you too much. But look, it's like Olive Garden. When you hear your family, you're the only person that's going to get it back. Look, so if y'all tuned in, I'm just saying, I'm giving you value today. You better thank this man. That's only because I love this man, right? I'm saying too much, but I'm going to go ahead and say it for you. The sound that I keep talking about can low-key be quantified. I believe our sound is at the intersection of our gift and our passion. Ask yourself, what am I gifted at? What do I just do naturally that others can't do? Like me. Oh, they got almost 9 billion people on the planet. I'm sure there's somebody that can do what you're doing. But there's some things that you do pretty unique. Like we can't find anybody else that does it quite like you. And then we have to ask ourselves, what's our passion? And I oftentimes find, excuse my language, I just got to say it, whatever usually pisses you off, that's where you find your passion. I'm just being honest with you. Think about it. If there's something you see and when it's not done right, it just, 9 times out of 10, that's what you're passionate about because you hate seeing it done wrong. Now, I could have gave you a fancy formula for that, but that's the easiest one for me. Find what upsets you, what pushes the button. That's a passion right there. Old girl can't make the potato salad. You're probably passionate about food. You're probably low-key a culinary expert. You don't even know it yet, right? Right? So when we find individuals that are both gifted and passionate, then we have a powerful thing called the sound that creates a significance. The why, the letter Y is just that. WHY. When you can identify why you're doing something, that's also a powerful driver. And I found the why, and I don't want to be that guy. Find your why. That's the stupidest. I'm sorry. And look, you may have other guests that come on talk about find their why. All due respect. And when you say that, you're about to say something disrespectful. I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. All due respect, it's ridiculous. You can't answer a question with a question, right? So the why, I believe, is really a what. Identifying what something is. Identifying who somebody is. When we can tie our purpose to something or someone of significance, then that puts us in a powerful role of significance in the moment too. Then we become significant because we're tied to something that's significant. Purpose begets purpose. It's like a tree. Apple tree makes apples. Apple trees don't make oranges. And a lot of times we're trying to be something that we're not connected to. Lastly, Z, destination. Where are we going? I've been telling a group of teachers in Missouri last week. I'm like, look, if you can't tell a kid where this is taking them, then you the fool. Like, you wrong. Because last time I checked, taking somebody to a place and not telling them where you're taking them is a felony. That's called kidnapping. I mean, let's not even be deep. That's kidnapping. And here's the deal. You might be able to kidnap other people, but you can't kidnap yourself. Yourself is going to say, I'm not going. Nah, I'm not going to the gym today. Because we can't see where this is going. It's not tied to anything that's attractive, that's powerful to us. So I would tell you today, put the Z. What is Z? It's the end. It's the end of the alphabet. It's the destination. Destiny. Destination, destiny. You can't have GPS. First thing GPS asks you is what? Where are we going? Mm-hmm. If you can't identify that, GPS don't work. And guess what? Purpose is the same way. Promise is the same way. If you can't identify what it is you want, that's why I say go back and get a vision. Get an idea. You don't have to have all the answers. Just get something that helps drive us. Mm-hmm. It's not deep. But when you get that X, Y, Z, then you create a powerful statement. So what's my X, Y, Z? My X is my ability to engage, educate, and elevate. Y, every learner. Not just the ones I like. Not just the ones that I think are going to be future music educators. No, every learner. Z, where? To excellence. So that they know they're loved, valued, and wanted. That's my statement. To engage, educate, and elevate every learner to excellence. Through music. So that they know they're loved, valued, and wanted. Can you see now how that powerful statement allows me to understand who I am in the moment? That even if the kid hits a wrong note, I don't feel like a failure. That we're still driving towards something that's bigger than a song, that's bigger than a concert, that's bigger than what they decide to do with the music that I give them. Because so many of my kids will play music, but maybe they won't do it professionally. But it's not about that. It's about them seeing who they can be through this powerful vehicle. And when I'm aware that I am a vehicle driver, then it makes each and every day more fulfilling. And I can put a smile on my face. And I can go home at night knowing that I'm doing the work. I'm doing the good work in a way that people that are just making money don't feel that way.
Yeah. I hope that the people who are watching and listening to this understand how impactful the way, not just what you're saying, but the way that you say it really is. Because a lot of people talk about the concepts that you're speaking on. They talk about finding purpose, the why, where you're going, the destination. But you're given formulas, right? Like you're literally given, like you need to take notes and you need to execute what he's saying because it is the formula that he's used to get him to where he is. And it's so, so powerful because a lot of people they're not willing to put the time in to reverse engineer what they did that got them where they are, and then just so freely give it to others. So if nobody else ever says it, that is unbelievably appreciated. That makes a difference just as much as what you do every day makes a difference. That's your XYZ, but the fact that you're willing to share that with others makes a difference for other people too. Let me ask you this. In gymnastics, right, there's almost a stigma of people who compete and then they start coaching. It's like, oh man, you're just gonna coach? You don't want to get a real job? Right? How did it come about for you going from that transition of musician to music teacher? And what led you down that path?
Yeah. That's a great question. And look, I even got interviewed one time. Hey, the power of editing. Editing is a powerful thing, man. I'm just telling you, man. Because like when I go back and I watch this interview, they made it look all warm and fuzzy and like, oh, like the sun comes out tomorrow. But honestly, the part that they video low-key ticked me off. My man came in and interviewed me. Nice dude. He saw me teach and then he heard me play. And he was like, oh, snap. So you can like really play. So he asked me in the interview, he's like, why teach? Now, he said a few other things too, but leading up to the little part, why teach? And it made me mad. And before I knew it, I was like, why teach? Why not teach? But when you go watch the video, man, there's something about the lighting. They're like, why not teach? Bro, that ain't how I said it. I'm just saying, because I believe that the best teachers are those that can do it at a high level. We didn't even realize what Yoda was working with until some of the later episodes. Like Yoda looked all frail. We're like, oh, look, Yoda, he just teaching because he can't use the Force. And then them other movies came out, and you found out, bro, Yoda is a force to be reckoned with. Like, he ain't no joke, right? And I think the best teachers are those powerful examples. So somebody said, well, Mickey, you could be out there playing professional. You could hold your own with a professional musician. Why are you not doing that? Vision. For me personally, and look, let me clarify, because if somebody's out there like, well, I'm a professional musician, everybody's situation is different. It's not necessarily what you do, it's what you do. It's the motive for what you do. It's the motive. So watch this. For me personally, playing alone was an ambition. But teaching was vision. And I believe ambition feeds yourself, but vision feeds others. So for me, it was an opportunity to do something, as I said before, that adds value, which I guess if we need to say, and I think we do, it would be, in the words of the great philosopher, Ice Cube, check yourself before you wreck yourself and ask yourself, is what I'm doing tied solely in ambition or vision? Because ambition is good. We need a healthy balance of ambition because ambition is a driver. But when ambition becomes all-consuming, then, again, are we adding the value? Because at the end of the day, I keep saying it's about finding our sound, but ultimately it's about creating a legacy song. And your life is the lyric. And one day when they put you in the ground and they got to talk about you, I done been to the funerals of the ambitious folks. I've seen the families that laid to rest the ambitious folks. I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means. It's a battle. It's a balance every day. But in the back of my mind, I'm always concerned. Matter of fact, in the front of my mind, I'm always cognizant of, okay, is this ambition or is this vision? And if I'm pursuing ambition, I put a time limit on it. I'm going to give it X, Y, Z. I'm going to get A, B, C. I'm giving it 1, 2, 3. Because if I don't put a limit on it, same way we put a limit on alcohol, right? Same way we put a limit on certain vices or certain indulgences. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with the pizza, right? But maybe we don't want to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe, there's nothing wrong with a little glass of wine, but maybe if we throwing down the whole bottle, maybe there ain't nothing really wrong with going out to the casino resort. But now when I've wasted away the retirement, it's gotten to be a problem. So the ambition, I want to put a limiter on it. But vision, I don't think you can have too much vision, because the more vision you have, if it's done right, then it provides an opportunity, an umbrella for you to bring other people under it. And those people together, you can lift it. But ambition is built for one. It's built for one.
Man, that's good. And I think this is something that a lot of people figure out too late, right? I think that because what happens is people continue to move the goalpost. When you operate solely in ambition and not in vision, then you say, okay, I want to make six figures, and then you make six figures, and then you say, okay, well, I want to make $250,000, and then you get there, and then you say, I want to make half, and then you get there, and then you get seven figures, and then you get there, and you just keep moving the goalpost every single time. It doesn't matter if it's money or if it's a bigger gig, if you're a musician, or a bigger competition, if you're an athlete, or whatever it is. The trophies keep getting bigger, and yet there keeps becoming more places to put trophies on your shelf magically, right? And I think that eventually people get to the end there and realize exactly what you're saying. But wouldn't it be great if you could figure that out without spending 20 years figuring it out, without spending 30 years figuring it out? So that's so impactful. Let me ask you about this. What does it take to be a good teacher?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. Love. Love. People make it deep. And that don't mean that you're a pushover. It doesn't even really mean that you're out here hugging every kid and I love you. But everything has to be their behaviors, their shortcomings, their inabilities, their inhibitions. You have to see it through the lens of love. And if you can see it through the lens of love, then you see that they're somebody's child, number one, and they're not a student. You see who they can be, and they don't get just stuck in who they are. And you see and there's some, I'm going to be honest with you. That's why I said there's some, I'm just being real. And maybe, maybe this is inappropriate, but I just got to be who I am. I don't like all my students. And boy, people, I can't believe he said, I'm just being honest. There are some of them, one just popped in my head just now. I don't like that little boy. Just be real. But watch this. I love him. I love him. Because every day I'm going to go back and I'm going to fight for him. And I'm going to give him what he needs, even if it's not what he wants. Because I believe that every child has that. They're just that one person away. So my goal is to love each child just the way they are, but love them enough not to leave them just the way that they are. And when I walk in with a spirit of love, and again, love ain't no punk. Love ain't no joke. I don't even know if we can say that anymore. You may have to bleep that out. I'm sorry. But love is not a pushover. Love is not a pushover. I believe love is strength embodied and personified. Because it takes a lot to tell somebody that I'm going to be here for you and that your success affects me. Your existence affects me to the point where I'm being vulnerable. You could hurt me. That's what love says. Love says you could hurt me. I'm putting myself out there. So I'm giving you the best that I got. That's old school. That's Anita Baker. Giving you the best I got. That's what love says. And I think the great teachers are those that step into that classroom every day. Doesn't mean they're perfect, but they're giving the best that they got. They see that kid through a lens of love, and they're constantly adding value. Because that's what love does. Love gives. There's some folks that love the world so much they gave. They gave. And they didn't just give the least, they gave the first. They gave the best. That's what I think great educators are. Because there's a difference between a teacher and an educator. A teacher just gives information. An educator adds value. Love.
Wow. I think what you just described over the last, hour and 10 minutes or so is really, it's the formula for a sound life. And that's why I wanted to end with that question, because you can extrapolate that onto anything else that you do. If you want to be a good manager, a good parent, a good musician, a good athlete, it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. At the end of the day, you still have to have vision that's greater than yourself. You still have to be willing to add value, and you still have to love. And you have to hold those ideals higher than, some other things like ambition, right? And I think that's the trick. And I think when people figure that out, it's almost this, I'd like to hear what you think about this actually. in my experience, it's not something that lasts forever. It's not like you realize this and it's a switch that gets flipped and then all of a sudden you're just this godlike being that is always operating at this higher level. I think it's a process of daily reminding yourself that there's almost two versions of you. There's one that is focused on self-satisfaction and ambition and impressing others, and then there's this other version of you that isn't quite human, or maybe it's even more human. Maybe it's the very essence of what being a human should be. I don't know. But it's a different piece of you that's capable of focusing on some different concepts, right? Those concepts of love, those concepts of a vision that's bigger than yourself and everything else that you spoke about. You know, how do you, this will be my last question, how do you get there and how do you stay there? Because I think you've given us a really strong, really sound formula to start to understand what that version of you should look like and some action items on how you can get there. How do you not just get there? How do you become whatever that is? That might be too deep, but
No,
that's
no,
just
no, no. I mean, it's deep, but I think the answer is not as deep as we think. When I teach my students, I believe teaching has been not only the greatest privilege in my life, but it's been the greatest professional development I could have ever gone through. Because how do you take something that comes natural, seemingly comes natural to you, or because you have so much experience in it when it comes to this thing called playing music, how do you create a bridge of understanding between your skill set and what they hope to do? How do you do that? I believe it's meeting people where they're at. And so my challenge is every day being a student of the students. So what I have to figure out is, okay, I have this grand concept, but what can I tie it to that they can appreciate, understand, love, and then embrace? And I'll do the same thing with what you just shared, because what you just shared is like really powerful. I'll be honest with you, I was sitting there for about 10 seconds going, we really gonna leave on a low note? Like you really just gonna be like that? Like we could have ended. I was
We
like,
could've just
Jordan,
cut it
with
right
6
there.
seconds left. The hand was still in the air, and like all of a sudden the shot didn't count. You calling it back. So, but I feel good about this one. Look, man, I think it comes down to this. We all understand what it takes to drive, and we've been talking about the drive from potential to promise. But I want you to think about the vehicle. Any vehicle you get in, the journey is only made possible, and the journey is only made sound. It's only made safe with a sweet combination of mirrors and windows. These were the initial first safety features. Before we had all the beep, beep, beeps and the sensors and all that kind of stuff, we had a series of windows and mirrors. Meaning, and I tell my kids all the time, when we play music and you're in the band, you have to have that balance between looking at the music and looking at the conductor. But some people get so consumed by the music, they lose their place with the ensemble because they're following the beat of their own drum. And I tell kids, I'm like, hey, if you were driving and you stared at the speedometer and you hit something and the police officer pulled you over and said, hey, I'm giving you a ticket, and you go, but officer, I was looking at the speedometer. That would not get you out of that ticket. If anything, you might get another ticket. He might be like, wow, you're ridiculous. Here's another citation.
You going to jail.
You're going to jail. Like, we're going to take it from here. Like, you are not getting back in this vehicle if that's how you operate. And kids giggle at that and they laugh because they understand the absurdity of driving and looking at a speedometer when you have an entire windshield that you should be looking at. In the same token, there's some times where we have to take a step back. And looking forward is not the answer. So we have two choices. We can turn and distort ourselves and contort ourselves to the point where we're trying to look out the rear view window, but that's not practical. So they put things in place called a mirror, so we can see what's behind us, so we can see what's on side of us, and sometimes so we can even see ourselves if we're parked, right? So I'm sharing this today because I think the journey is made better by our ability to recognize window and mirror seasons. And in the course of a day, there's opportunities that we run into. And remember what I said before, because I don't want to just be a little catchphrase. Every opportunity is another opportunity for another opportunity. Meaning, one opportunity may be something that allows me to reflect, mirror, but in that reflection, it powerfully presents me and positions me to now operate to see others' window. That's the next opportunity. And then the next opportunity may continue to be a window, but the next opportunity from that may be a mirror. And it may be a side mirror to where I can help somebody in my peripheral to come along with me. It may be a back mirror where oh man, let me slow down. I didn't realize I left the pack back there. And I'm supposed to be a blessing in this season. Let me slow down. It provides perspective. So how do we get perspective? Mirrors, windows. And just like in our vehicle, not only does it give us perspective, but it makes that journey going down that pathway of potential and promise all the more safe. Little girl asked me one time, I said, what does GPS stand for? Baby girl said, going places safely. It was in that little crew of kids we worked with that year. Going places safely. And do you think I told that little girl she was wrong? I mean, what kind of jerk do you think I am? Because technically, she was adorable. She was cute as a button. I'm not going to tell her she's wrong. Secondly, she's absolutely right. Because if I told her global positioning systems, that means nothing to her. But if I explain what global positioning systems do, then technically her definition is correct. We use GPS so we can go places safely. So I say all that to say the vision, the intentionality, and the consistency serves as a powerful GPS, but it's our mirrors and our windows that allow us to take that GPS and to preserve our journey in a way where we go from the potential to the promise. And along the way, we promote, we become better versions of ourselves each and every day.
It's a constant process.
Yeah.
Constant process.
Personal
Man.
development and professional development, all wrapped into one. It's all those things together.
Yeah. Where can people find you? If I mean, we could go for 4 hours and it still would not be enough. So where can people get more?
Man, I appreciate it, man. Hey, you know, I'm not a hard fella to find, man. You can find me on any social media platform, Mickey Smith Jr. And of course, you can find out everything you need to know on the website as well, MickeySmithJr.com. So easy to remember. It goes like this: MickeySmithJr.com. Check it out. And of course, if you folks have always been asking me, Mickey, the music. Of course, there's music. You can find out more about the music and the message. Go to iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, all those platforms, and you can find my new Educator Encouragement album from yours truly, the Educator Encourager, called See the Sound. And check it out. Tell me what you think. Share it with some folks that need some encouragement, not exclusively for teachers. Strong enough for teachers, but pH balance for everybody, right? Everybody can enjoy this bad boy. And as well, the podcast, See the Sound, under the same name, same platforms, find it everywhere. And let me know what you think. Let me know. And of course, if I can be of service to you, I do professional development for schools, for corporate, you know, anything that I can be of service for. If you enjoy the motivational message and music, that mixture that I bring, we're traveling the country right now in the midst of the Keep On Going tour, and you can find out that and more on the website, MickeySmithJr.com.
Man, thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's very easy to tell if it's Mickey or not. If he does not have something red on his body, it is an imposter. I want you to understand that. So if you're on the internet and you see somebody claiming to be Mickey Smith Jr. and they don't have a red jacket or the hat, report them. It's a fake. That's a bot. All right. So just be on the lookout for that. Man, we started this show by talking about how I think there's some people that when they speak about what they do, it just comes across differently. You know, there's self-promoters and there's people who are good speakers and all these other things. But when somebody speaks and it's just downright spiritual and they're really kind of preaching at the same time, you can just tell. And you've done that. You've blessed us with that for the past hour and a half, man. So thank you so much for being here. For anybody watching this, man, don't do yourself a disservice by not doing two things. Number one, check out all the websites, social media, everything that he just listed. An hour and a half is good. It's not enough. I'm just being honest. It's not enough. This is somebody that this was not somebody that I was like, oh, he would be a good guest because he's got some cool stuff on his resume and we should bring him on. Like, this is somebody I try and stay in touch with because he adds value to me, just texting him, right? So this is my like inner circle right here of influences and people that I feel like help me get to the next level. So do not do yourself a disservice by not checking out all the other resources that he has to offer. And number two, Do not do yourself a disservice by not applying something that he said today. We talked about it earlier. He gave you the formula. He didn't give you ideas. He didn't give you concepts. He gave you formulas on how you can use what he's talking about to take your life to the next level. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Act. Do something with this information. Take it, share it with somebody else. Become a sound teacher of your own. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.